Hello everyone, and welcome back to episode 7 of the single-player Enigmatica 6 Let's Play series. So there was already an episode 7 that I had previously recorded, and it did not go as planned. So I'm just going to do a real quick recap over what we did, because honestly, it was a very long episode, and too long considering what little we did. You can't even notice any differences as I run around here. But as I explain them, you'll probably spot a couple of them. So thing number one that we did is we converted all of our storage over to RF Tools modular storage. I find these to be terrible. I'm probably going to revert that either off camera or in between because they take a really long time to transfer data over and they cause a lot of lag when you have their interfaces open. I'm not really sure why, but like you can see it completely locks up the game for moments at a time. Requesting from here isn't quite so bad, but if I need to and when I need to go through into these individually, it's quite a bad process. And you can probably already tell, I'm actually going to dump some of this stuff off real quick. You can probably already tell, but we also have both coal coke and steel production from immersive engineering knocked out. So we are full up on creosote oil for treated wood, and I've been creating steel. I think we have like almost 50 steel at this point, maybe something like that. Let's take a look. Yep, 75 steel. So we've been doing really good with steel production so far. I've got a whole tank here filled with creosote, and I've got an entire insightful crystal filled, and then this is my second one. So the first one I put over here in an item frame just in case we need it as buffer, but so far we've been good. So yeah, this has just been an entire process of kind of, you know, doing some minor things, getting them set up, but definitely nothing worth an entire episode. And I had a lot of issues with the actual video footage from that one, so between the fact that there wasn't a lot of content, it could be easily reviewed, you weren't missing anything, is basically what I'm trying to say here. So yeah, overall, been kind of productive and kind of not productive at the same time, if that makes any sense. Anyways, so today I'd like to get started with some basic energy production, but I've also got a couple of cool things that we can do on the side. So I wanted to get started with some fun adventure-y things, and then I figured we could probably go through and do some of the more technical sides. So I've got waystoned a couple of really cool targets that I'd like to go take a look. Item number one, where is it? It is here. I found a whole woodland mansion. And you can see I just slapped a waystone here. So what I thought would be really fun, I'm going to replace my shovel out for that guy. And we'll keep the insightful crystal here with auto collect disabled. I thought it'd be really cool to go through here and just give this place a look-see. I know that there is usually not a whole lot in these, but I saw this and I was like, holy cow, this isn't actually that far from our house. I don't know, the map's not loading because this is now on a server. I've got this running on a server at the moment, so you can do like /list. You can see it's just me on this one server. That way my computer's not dying as it generates the terrain. And so when I transferred over, none of the maps transferred. So I need to do that by hand. But if we look at the mini-map, you can see, like, if we are based here, you can see that that's not actually very far. Maybe 1,000, 1,050. Not too far. So, I don't really know where to get started on these anymore, so I figured I would just bust in. Now, our bow can do quick business of literally anything. And it does piercing, so I figured it would probably be smartest to just run around with our bow and take things out as we see them. I should have some torches. Yep, there we go. You know, I feel so confident that we're just gonna be totally fine. So yeah, these woodland mansions are from the variants that we have here. These varied versions, like this is obviously not the standard palette for a woodland mansion. At least I don't think so. I thought it was spruce. This might actually be vanilla, but I know that there are variants that are created by other mods, like repurposed structures, which I know we have in this pack. So it could be very well a repurposed structure variant, but I'm not actually 100% sure on that, to be honest. Oh, I did get him. I got both of them. One of them was an evoker. Dang. Okay, so I say let's go downstairs first, and then we'll go upstairs. I think this is vanilla. I know I've recently done a repurposed structures one in one of the mod packs I've been working on in my own time, and I've noticed that it only had one of the evokers, whereas this has already had 3, and that number keeps rising. It also didn't have this room at all. Okay, so we're 4 Totem of Undying so far. This is also good for some Ars Nouveau stuff. You can make a Soulbound Tinker's Tool, and there's a glyph for summoning Vexes. Now, I realized recently that this is just one big boxing rink. And I don't understand why. Got a Wraith Heart. I didn't know these had chests. That's cool. Chainmail, gunpowder, not really a whole lot of interesting stuff. Thought they were bigger up here. Maybe not. Yeah, I guess not. I guess I would have figured there was probably something back here, but this is just the map room. Found that guy. Okay, well that's kind of a bummer, but you know, whatever. It is what it is. It was still pretty fun. So yeah, that was interesting. You know, I've only ever done one of those once, and that was what I just did recently, like I had mentioned. So I wasn't really sure what to expect. Just because, you know, RNG always controls these builds a little bit, these structures. Anyways, there was one other thing I wanted to do, and that was this roguelike dungeon that I found. I've never seen this theme, so this will be very fun to do anyways. But then with this cool custom theme I'm seeing, I'm really intrigued. Like, these are custom block palettes and everything. I didn't know you could do this. Sometimes you'll find some really good stuff in these 1st or 2nd tier chests, but so far just pretty average loot, which is fine. I mean, you know, we're not here for the loot. I'm just here for the adventure. This is an adventure. Take that guy out before he tries to take me out. But there are a ton of diamonds. It's insane how many diamonds are over here. Let me clear up my inventory a little bit. I don't need diamond or emerald blocks. There's all sorts of Tetra stuff over here. Tetra forges. There's, like, I think another one over here. So there's quite a lot to see. It's stupid good how much stuff there is. I mean, you know, these are pretty common. These are part of Quark, these giant caverns, but because of how much underground content there is in this pack, how much content in general for structures and exploration, it's deeply loaded with all sorts of good stuff to see. There is a ton. There's a spider jockey. I seem to have made some friends. A lot of friends. I just got a mossy ring. I don't know what that does, but I am curious. Mossy ring. Slowly repair held items? Oh. Also, you may have noticed this guy. This guy is pretty cool. These are called Tortoise. However, because they are tortoise, but they are tortoise with the word "or" in them. This one's a coal tortoise. So if I hit him with a pickaxe, not a weapon, but a pickaxe, he will drop coal, which is what I just got. And there are some for lapis, there are some for redstone. And essentially, if you want to use them as a farm, which you absolutely can, it's intended, what you do is you feed them cave roots from Quark, and they will regrow that ore. Looking through the guidebook, once I eat a little bit, because I'm pretty hungry, but I think it would be cool to just kind of go through these and look at them kind of one at a time. So we've done a pretty thorough look and deep dive of Create. So now I'd like to do a pretty thorough look and deep dive for Immersive. And this is kind of how I'm going to treat this pack, as a guideline for how to not only create content for the episode, but also like what should I be working on? What's a target goal for today? So I have a few. I'm going to work on a water wheel, Kinetic Dynamo, an engineer's workbench. Those are actually very useful. If we look here, we also have the improved blast furnace. We could make this, so I think we probably should. So why don't we get started, get cooking? So coming over here, I'm going to go ahead and get started with the reinforced. So let's grab steel. Yoink. And then combine with that to get the quest, which got us some light engineering block and a shader. And now we can form our advanced blast furnace. And this guy's pretty much the same as a blast furnace, except you can feed it power to increase the efficiency of the blast furnace. It'll be easier and faster. And it also just looks cool. I mean, like, you gotta admit, that looks pretty sick. So you can see there are no preheaters currently, and it functions just fine in this state, but we will eventually add preheaters to it. That way it'll be worth having the advanced iteration of this all set up. But that was quick, easy, and just straightforward. So now let's take a look and get some planks. Let's get some treated wood. Log? What do I have? A lot of log. We'll take these and craft them like so. And now I believe this still works. I actually truly am not 100% sure about this anymore. If I do that, no, okay. We put this here. We do a filter, and we tell you only allowed. What? I know I grabbed a bucket. Oh, it went here. I was so confused. In here, we'll tell you only allowed bucket. So now if I give you a bucket, is that going to go straight into there? It will, and then that's going to feed that out. And now I should have a bucket of creosote available to request. Now it's slow as all molasses because I need a speed upgrade. And I'm going to give you back all of these, and I'll just keep on requesting the recipe. So now if I were to do this, right, if I were to say I want this recipe, request, sending one set of ingredients, ideal. Okay, you know, it's not perfect, but, you know, I'll take what I can get. We'll go ahead and do, for now, I'm just going to ask you to request that twice. Get these buckets cleared out. And now I can go based on what I have here, what I have here. So I should have enough for 3 stacks, which is 8 crafts. Let's try to do 11 times. So now that we have a good bit of this, I think that's plenty for now. What I can do, I am in fact going to just leave this here. And I know it's visible, but I'm just gonna leave it there for now. I could be a little more concerned than I am, but I'm fine. So now that we've got the engineer's workbench knocked out, ready and settled, let's take a look at what quest reward we ended up getting for that. We got a blueprint. Perfect. This helps me explain exactly how you use these. So essentially you have a blueprint slot here, which goes in the little clamps, if you couldn't tell. And by putting that there, there's a blueprint that literally renders here, which is really neat. And now we have a list of things we can make. And so to make these, all we need to do is toss the ingredients to make these, which are listed in the tooltip. Toss those into this little set of 6 inventory slots here, and then you can just click these to select which ones you want to make. So it only works for the 4 items listed in the engineer's blueprint, but still, it's super useful to have it laid out here like this. So now I want to take this guy here. I want to craft or request a piece of iron, and that's going to get us a copper coil block, and then we're going to need the Kinetic Dynamo. I would like the aluminum variant if I could get it, just because I don't have a whole lot of a use for aluminum at the moment. So that's part of, why is that 2 tasks? What other task is this? Windmill, makes sense. And so the other component to this, right, is to make the water wheel. So the water wheel is going to require a whole bunch of treated stick. Let's see what we have for treated, because I know we need, that's 1, 2, let me think this through, right? So this is 4, and then if I want these, I'm going to need 16, but I actually need 48 sticks in total, because I want to make this 3 times. I want to make 3 water wheels. Perfect. And now I just need steel. I did not need that one. Whoops. That gets us 3 water wheels. I think the quest was probably just for 1. Yeah, it was, but that's fine. I, for one, really like the LV. Looks like that was a quest, and that gets me more industrial hemp fiber. That's funny. That got me another common shader grab bag. I don't really care about these all that much. However, I will use you to create this, and now we're a little closer on the tough fabric that we need to make more of these insulated LV wire coils. So, to get this guy set up, we have our infinity water bucket, which is very useful. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to find a good place, and I'm going to grab my shovel. And we're going to set up a nice little water stream. So what we can do is have a little river and a little, not a river, but more like a waterfall, river flow sort of thing, and just have a lake up here. So I'm going to work on building out that lake. What I'm going to do is level this out a little bit. Okay, so that was actually a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. I really wasn't sure how this shape and everything was going to work out, but it worked. We have kind of started a new interesting problem. We have a large population of fish who really like the water that I just built for them, even though it was never for them. So yeah, interesting stuff. Swapped over to the netherite shovel for now because we are running out of space, running out of durability on the other one. And overall, I think this area looks super cute. There are a lot of fish over here, and it seems like they just love to come down here and join the party. So that could be a new food source. Just saying. But no, it does actually look like they come from down and up here as well. So I've still got a lot of decoration to do. Just, you know what, I might just move over to this just because it's so fast. But yeah, looking around here, it looks terrible. It looks super sad. But there's a lot of sprucing that we can do with this to make this look a little better. Because we can do gravel and pathways up here. I plan on having some seeding and some sugarcane, maybe some bamboo growing. Just things that are going to help make this feel a lot more alive than they do currently, because at the moment, yeah, this area feels pretty sad. Now, that's all finessing and stuff I'll probably do off camera, just because it is such a... I wouldn't say labor-intensive, but it definitely is just me sitting there trying something until it works or doesn't. Shooting fish in a barrel, quite literally. I find this interesting, how fast they've all decided to exist over here. Anyways, well, that's a lot of Tobiko. This is from a mod called Sushiko Crafting, by the way. It's not something that I really strongly feel calls me, so I'm probably not going to mess around with it at all anytime soon. But yeah, it is there. So, we want to get the water wheel down, and so we're going to need to find a spot to do that in. We just built this out, but we still need to actually harness the power. So what I'm going to do is pick a spot right here. No particular reason why I chose here. Just thought, hey, why not? It looks like it'll work. Works for me. And I'm digging out a 5-block area specifically for our water wheel, because it is kind of picky how this all works. And if you don't do it exactly right, sometimes it won't work out in your favor. So I want to make sure I've got the verticality of this correct. So I think if I put this here, and then we dig down a little more. Now, if I dig down here, and do that, yep, I think that works. Cool. So now in the very center here, we should end up with our servo, or dynamo, right there. Beautiful. And we're going to grab our LV wire connector and put it down right there. And now we need a place to put this. So what I prefer to do, especially because we already have those fences, is I like to do wire post. I have a lot of things to put away. I also have a lot of food that I haven't eaten yet now, so that's cool. So there's the post from Immersive Engineering. I believe I have everything for this. Beautiful. And so now if I grab this guy, and I'm going to put these two away, what we can do is we can hook up our... We're going to go for the uninsulated. I don't think is really going to matter in our case. Now we're going to be able to essentially hook this here. And while it may not be a beautiful solution... okay, so those still don't connect to the ends. I hate that. While it may not be beautiful, it does work. Oh, that's not going to work, actually. We need a relay. So let's look at relays. Don't think I haven't... Wait, was that a relay? No, that's a connector. Okay, so the issue is we have connectors, and connectors go from one point to another, but what we need is a relay. So let's do an LV relay. So we'll put a relay here because we have one point here. This is the point that has power. You can see we have 256 immersive flux in there. And now we have something that we need to send somewhere else. Now I believe that our relay, if we... I should not have done that. If we were to, for example, go here, I don't believe you can do T's. See, this is what bothers me, is if I could do like a T shape, that would be ideal, but I can't. So let's see what the distance is. So these LVs are not very long. When it turns red, that's how you know it's too far. So we would probably have, what, maybe like till here, which is fine. It's totally fine, just not particularly a ton, but absolutely totally fine. Let's see if I can... Nope, I did not want to request that. Whoops. All right. So now with one more of these, we can start to route our power, basically. For one, I'm going to put this here. And for the sake of safety, I am going to route with a safe variety of the LV wire coil. Now, I prefer to keep these on the top. They just look better this way. Unfortunately, you cannot always do that. For example, if I were to start over here and remove this and maybe bump that over a block. Right, so if I were to put this here instead and do, nope, that, this, and then if I wanted to try to connect this, the angle for this will not work. See, so this block here will be in the way. And so you're like, okay, sure, fine, we'll try this. Well, now this in and of itself becomes in the way. It's really frustrating that they don't slightly have a better, more satisfying setup. It's really dissatisfying. But anyways, I digress. We link here, boom. And so now we have power coming up to this point. Now, what are we going to use this power for, you may be wondering? This is a very good question. So what we can do with this, sorry, I know I've been going back and forth. There's actually quite a few things here, right? So we can go with the preheaters, which are somewhere, I'm sure, right? But we can also find an external heater. External heater would actually be pretty useful. External heater, it would be a cool way to use this, actually. So I have a thought. Okay, so why don't we do this? Let's come up with a new way to create immersive power, or sorry, create power. So follow along with me, if you will. There's a thing that we never did, and I said I would save it for later. It turns out now is later, and that's the furnace engine. So we're going to make a flywheel, and we're going to make a furnace engine. Neither one of them are too terribly complicated, and I know it sounds like I'm jumping into a whole new thing midway, but these are related, and it's kind of scary, because this works in a way that I don't agree with, but it's funny because it works. So let's look at getting ourselves a furnace heater. We're going to need we're going to need this, and we will need one of these as well. And what I'll do is I'll craft in here, because I've got all these extra cables that I made. Get that coil block, and that gets us an external heater. It also gets us a quest. So if we look over here at the quest reward for this, that's just going to get us a rare box. Another shader, who cares? I think I just threw my morphing tool in there. I actually don't know. Oh, yep, here it is. Oh, that did get us a lot of tough fabric, actually. That wasn't so bad. So then, if we were to take a look at the furnace, right? So we're going to need a furnace, just a standard, good old Minecraftian furnace. Nope, just give me plain old cobblestone, please. What are you so annoyed about? Why do you have to growl? Why don't you just be quiet? We'll make a furnace. And we're going to want a flywheel, right? So we're going to need brass casing. We already have plenty of brass tier stuff. I'm going to need all of these. So let's grab all of our brass that we can get. We're going to need a sticky piston, or actually it looks like any piston will do, but we do have sticky, so we may as well. I think that's it, right? We need 8 with the brass casing, and then we need 5 to brass casing piston. So let's get 5 of these separated for the depot, right? And so now, if we were to take all of these, so we would do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 1. Let's do that. I really did forget how slow this was. I don't know why I never accelerated this. And there we go. Furnace engine. That should be its own quest. Now, do these have to be on a blast furnace now? I thought they could be on a normal furnace. But this is how this works. You essentially hook it up like so. You can see that this will produce spinning rotation, and all you have to do is power the furnace. You have to turn it on, essentially. Now, the funny thing about this... Oh, it looks like a blast furnace doubles the efficiency. I didn't know that. That's new. I haven't played with these since 1.15, when Create first was created? Question mark? But I have an idea, right? I'm going to first of all sleep, because the mobs have been nuisances. I think it would be nice to have more of these insulated LV wire coils. I think I can make enough. I forgot all about them. I can make 3. That's actually great. Because this makes 4. That's very good. Okay, cool. So we can get started. Here is how this works. Step 1, we have power. We have constant power. It's free to us right now, and I don't necessarily have a technical use for it. So what we can do, I'm going to yoink you. Whoops, wrong tool. I'm going to tell you to be set up like this, and then we will have this set up to do the following. We'll have a very short run there for a reason. We'll have a longer run here, and now we can take this run and forward it through all the trees over here. I'm thinking probably right here. And I'll probably have to do it below. Looks like I am too far away, so maybe we'll do it here instead. Does that work? Maybe that works. Now we can do another one over here. Like so. Like that. Perfect. And so what I can do is I can break this. We don't need this anymore. And instead, what we're going to have is this puny little system. Bear with me. But this will be a super simple setup. So what we're going to do is we're going to have that furnace external heater. We're going to put this right here. And it requires power from the side. So we're going to need, I forgot to grab inputs. My bad. So we need the LV wire connector. While I'm here, I'll grab these. With our LV wire connector, we should be able to connect this up exactly as I would hope. So we put that here, and keep in mind, all of this is kind of messy. I will clean this up. This is very easy to get looking good. I just don't feel like it at the moment. I just want to get the proof of concept knocked out. So we can have a guy there, one here, and now you're getting power. And you can see that little tooltip at the top says that the power is increasing, which should keep this guy running. I don't know why it's not. Lever? Lever! Haha, it's a lever that you want. Okay, so then if I put you here, would you work? Or is it just furnaces? So it's just furnaces. That's a minor, insignificant downside. And now we have power at the cost of water. Constant power. This produces 16,384 stress capacity. That is a ridiculous amount if you don't already know. And then you there. So these are now going way faster. If I were to do automatic crafting over here, you can see even these are spinning significantly faster. Now the flow of everything is inverted, which is funny, and also easily fixed. And also, if I set this up better, it wouldn't do this. But anyways, this whole setup, like, we don't need a giant windmill for this anymore. We can do this completely quietly and just completely based off of some redstone flux from a water mill. Now, I don't know how much we're producing outside of the requisite amount. Like, I think we're producing exactly as much redstone as this thing needs. Or, sorry, exactly as much redstone flux as this thing needs. So, you know, keep that in mind. But yeah, it's there. And then this thing will also technically smelt if you wanted it to. You know, it's not perfect, but it's there. It's available. So yeah, overall, this is a very portable and very cool little system for you just kind of going through and creating all of the create stress that you possibly ever need. So let me get this cleaned up a little bit, hide a couple of things, put some wiring in places that makes it look a little better, and I'll be back in just a bit. I may also put a capacitor or two down just to help pretty things up, so give me just a sec. So yeah, I would say this looks a lot better. Essentially what I've done is a small amount of rerouting. I have used a capacitor here as a buffer and also as a clean means to get power through a solid block without leaving a hole. I've done the same thing here. And now, if we hop down here, you'll see exactly how I've got this set up. So I've got this going with just straight from connector to connector into our external heater, getting a redstone signal into our furnace, going into our flywheel and our furnace engine. And then this is going straight across into a conveyor belt, which goes up, powers this vertical gearbox, that powers this vertical gearbox and splits our directions, which works perfectly for the crusher. And this guy doesn't care which direction he spins, so that all works perfectly for us. So now I'm just going to kind of go through and fill in some of these blocks that I've dug out. I believe I might still have a piece of gravel, or I could make some, actually. This is now even faster than it was before, too, if that's even remotely possible to believe. And with some work of a couple more pieces of right. There we go. I think that looks good. So now we've got the windmill out of the way. It makes it easier to traverse this area. And overall, we're just way more efficient. We're running things way more efficiently now than we were before. We just overall are doing better. So yeah, overall, this has been very interesting to set up. I was very surprised to see that this worked, but I'm glad that it does, because it's kind of a cool system. I'm super tickled with it. taking a look at the things that we can do with all this create stuff that we've got generated. At this point, we could do a lot of cool automation. A lot of things that you wouldn't normally consider automating, you absolutely can using create. So yeah, anyways, that's been quite a lot for this one episode. Getting our first little piece of power gen did kind of lead us directly backwards right into the module of this mod pack that we just left. But in between episodes, I will absolutely clean up this area, add some gravel, add some cobble and sand to make this look a little more natural, put in some more foliage, kind of decorate the area, right? Because we're looking a little bit bland right now. Bland and drab. And I'll go ahead and get in the pathway for this little section right here that I've been meaning to do, so that next time when we come through, this whole area will look significantly nicer.